That looks like a champagne cooler you're about to use as the base.
Who said they could hear me?
Some of those people.
We all can.
Can you all hear me all right?
Getting better, but not quite.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Not really.
Try that.
Okay, how's that now?
We all mute ourselves. If we all mute ourselves,
If we all mute ourselves, we get close to our computers.
okay. Let's try that. We're going to mute ourselves.
Yep, I can do that. I'm gonna try it.
Okay, I hope you all can hear me now. Is that better? Of course, they can't tell me now.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yes, it's better. Yes,
Perfect.
Okay,
I'm
good.
muting again.
All right.
Are we ready to start? I've got 7 o'clock.
Yep. I don't have anybody else in the waiting room, so we're good.
Okay, well, we'll get started then.
All right, here we go.
All right, here we go. First thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you a few things that we use in the florist trade. The first thing is Davy tape. Now, Davy tape is, you can get this from any florist. One roll like this will last you a lifetime, so don't buy too many of them. This is what you use as waterproof tape to hold your oasis in, and I'm going to be showing you that in just a second. Don't confuse it with floral tape. Now, this other floral tape is just for wrapping flowers, like when you're going to do a wedding bouquet, and you have to stretch it to activate the glue. So you don't want that, you want Davy tape. This is Oasis. And this foam is a floral foam. It's made by Dither's Oasis, most of it is. And when it's dry, you soak it, and it'll hold up 4 times its weight in water. So you, that's what we use for arrangements that last for a long time. Now I'm going to show you just this one little trick, and then we'll go on to something else. This looks like chicken wire. And all it is chicken wire that is coated. It's called floral net. Everything's got a big name. That's what we put on top of the oasis, and then we tape it down so the arrangement won't move. Particularly if you're doing a big church arrangement. When you go to move it, it's going to wiggle a lot, and that can split the foam. So you don't want that to happen. Okay, so now we know what the tape is, the wire is, champagne cooler, and oasis. A good floral knife is very important. You need a good knife because the clippers are your best friends when you're outside, but they're not good for flowers when you're doing arrangements because they squash the stems when you cut them. You need a knife, and a knife will simply make you a good cut, and then the water will go up the stem. Now what I do, I don't use the knife, I don't pull the knife. I hold the knife like that, and I hold it steady. I pull the flower. It makes it much easier to cut, and you won't cut your finger. All right, so now I'm going to do a triangular arrangement for you first. This oasis is too high, so I need just to cut it down a little bit. You just take your knife and just go right through it. Try not to cut your hand off. There we go. All right, I'm going to use the netting just to show you how to use it. So you pull that down nice and tight on top of the oasis. You take your Davy tape, and we tape it over to one side, back around, and up and over, back around. There we go. Never tape right in the center, because the center is where the most of the flowers are going, so don't do that. All right, now I'm classically trained, which means I don't do Martha Stewart. I do instant arrangements where you put 5 dozen flowers in. I don't do that. I'm, like I say, classically trained, so stick with me. I'm going to give you a way of doing things that'll be a good basis for you, and then you can expand upon it. First thing I'm going to do is green the container. Now, greening the container simply means that we're going to put a design of greens in first, which will be the background for the arrangement. Now, the old rule of thumb is 1.5 times the height of your container is the height of your arrangement. Well, that works sometimes, sometimes it doesn't, so I'm just going to go along here. You start your greening, just like you start your flowers, in the back quarter of the oasis. If you start it any more forward, your arrangement is going to fall over like that. So this establishes our height. Now, if you like the height, it's fine. When you're working with oasis, you can always push the stems down further into the oasis, but you cannot pull them up. If I pull this stem up and put it back down, this green part here will not get any water flowing through it because it has been pulled out and there's a little air pocket around the stem at the bottom. So you always go further down, but you can't go back. Now, every piece of green, this is called leatherleaf fern. Leatherleaf fern, during certain times of the year, will have spores all over the back. It will look like eggs, but they're not. They're little spores. That's how they reproduce. So I've got the height. Now I'm going to establish the width. So I look at 2 pieces of leatherleaf, and I want them the same shape, same size. And now I have 2 pieces. Every flower, every piece of green grows a certain way. Look at the way it grows and don't use it against the grain. This one flows down, so I'm going to lay the stem on the brim of the container and push it in. Then I'm going to the other side and do the same thing. Now I've established the width. Now for a triangular arrangement, I'm going to go back in the center. Move that stem out, this one down. Then I'm going to take another piece. And I'm going to come a little bit more forward with this one and put it down in the oasis really well. Now, some pieces aren't so good, as you can tell. These are good pieces to tear apart and use in the front to cover the front of your container. It covers the lips. It also covers the baby tape. Now I need something here, so I'm going to put another piece in there. This gets really is fun. Keep trying to do this. And again, I'm making a triangular outline. Now, a couple more ugly little pieces here. And we're going to cover up. This is called mechanics. Mechanics are the tape and the floral foam and all that's called mechanics. So you always want to cover that up. You don't want people walking in and saying, oh, that looks really nice. Look at that tape all over the place. So we're going to cover that up. Now that looks pretty good. But we haven't finished the back. Now you can see all the mechanics here in the back. Well, we don't want people to see that. And if you're doing that at home, and you put it in your entry hall in front of a mirror, guess what you're going to see? So we do the same process reversed on the back. Now we don't have to do too much on the back, and you don't have to go all the way out the sides. That again is where you can use your little pieces that you don't particularly like. As long as you get it down in the oasis there. That's really bad piece there. I have to thank Carolyn Tolley for all the flowers at the university. She's really good to us about giving us stuff like this. So when you see Carolyn, thank her. Oh, that looks pretty good, I think. So I'm going to leave it alone. Now at this point, make sure you leave a little area back here where you can pour water. Just a little tiny hole there, big enough that you can put water in. All right, now if you've got green glue, which I didn't bring any, you can spray all this and it'll make it a glossy green. That works. All right, the first thing we're going to do, and let me find this, there's the center flower, is look for a nice straight flower. And I'm using carnations because it's easier for you to see. We fluff them up a little bit. And we decide the height. That looks about right. Now you want to nestle your first flower in and back of the center there. And there, that looks pretty good height. And the next flower is going to be our width. So I'm going to measure, just kind of eyeball it. That's about where I want it. Cut those. Fan these open. These came in a dry pack, so it takes a little while for them to get water. All right, so I'm laying it just like I did before. I'm laying it on the lip of the container and pushing it in. That looks about right. Now I've got the height and the width established. So when you're doing a triangular arrangement, the rule is top, left, right. So I'm coming down with the next flower. This is going to be the left one. Sometimes you have to cut them a couple times. See, it's almost underneath, but not quite. Now, this flower leans towards the right, so that'll be a good one for the right one. And let's see, let's come in about like that on that one. Okay, that's the basic 5 flowers. So then we're going to come back over to the left. We're going to plug in another one. And it's going to be, there we go, a little bit further down. And you can see on the side right now, these flowers are lined up on the sides. On this side, so you can see them like little stair steps on that side. Then I'm going to come back in the center again. Now if you are working with 3 or 4 roses or 3 or 4 orchids or something that's really, really nice flowers, put them in the center. Don't stick them on the ends. Put them in the center. Let them come down in the center so you see them. That's what we call the money flowers. So if it's expensive, put it in the center so people can see it. I'm going in between there. And coming back down to the center. And I'm going over here. See, I'm spacing as I'm coming, cutting the flower shorter, way out. And down in the front here. Now, if you're working in a flower shop doing this, you have to remember that every flower costs money. And that every arrangement, you have to put a certain amount of money into the flowers and a certain amount of money into the containers. So you have to learn to space flowers. And I am making a mess on the floor, but that's all right. I'll clean that up a little bit. All right, now there's our basics. This is the basis. Now if you like, You can go back in with filler flowers and put them in. But I'm going to save these for the next one. So I want to just give you the basic design there. Everybody got that? And you can see the triangular shape and see the spacing in between the flowers so that you can see each flower. Now Martha Stewart would put 4 dozen of those in there and it would be one big red mess. Oh, I like Martha Stewart, don't you? All right, now, we'll put this one out of the way. And there it is. I've got a basket here. And a Pyrex bowl. This is an antique basket. It's a nice one. So I'm going to do a different style of arrangement for you in the trust me, you got to put it back. And Oasis is so easy to cut. Push it down in there and that will hold to the bowl. Big baby tape. The hardest part of this knife is into the baby tape. There it is. Got it. I'm doing this so that the Oasis and the arrangement doesn't move. Oh. On the side. Oh. If you're doing an arrangement at home and it's only going to stay at home, you don't have to tape it down quite as much. But I'm used to doing it for delivery men. And arrangements can be pretty brutal when they're delivered on the truck. All right, now, a lot of people would do their arrangement this way and hide the handle. I like to include the handle in the arrangement. So I'm going to turn the bowl so that the block of Oasis is going this way, and we're going to incorporate the handle. Now we're going to green this. You can see the mess I'm making. Now, that's really ugly. And we're going to green this arrangement, because this is going to be what you call a colonial arrangement. That means it's going to be an all-around arrangement. You're going to see flowers from every side. So if you're having a dinner party and want an arrangement in the center of the table, you can do a colonial style. So we're going to green this now. So again, establish the height, and look that through. Then we'll do the width. Simply do that by laying the piece of green on the lip of the basket. That's a good guide for you. And we're going all the way around the basket. Now, on a colonial arrangement, it's different than a triangular arrangement because you want to turn your arrangement very often. Don't try to reach around and do it. Turn it so it faces you. Gee, Andy, this is really fun because they don't get to talk back to us.
Very true.
We can say whatever we want to them.
I'm enjoying. I'm learning.
I think they'll have something to say about that. It's been 30 years since I've taught floral design, so I'm a little rusty on teaching it. But once you learn it, you never forget it. When I lived in Ohio, we did a lot of floral design for different people. I was Tim Conway's designer. I did all of his flowers. Tim Conway's favorite flower was yellow roses. So when I saw yellow roses coming through, I didn't know what that was for.
If you have questions, feel free to unmute and ask.
We might not answer you, but go ahead. See, I'm always keeping it in front of me. Keep turning. And I'm using a lot of scraps. At Christmas time, you can do this with holly, you can do it with cedar, you can do it with pine, any of the holiday balsam, anything like that. Actually, sometimes just a basket full of greens is all you need. All right. Now, I think we've about got that. See down on the top of that? Alrighty. Now again, if you've got green glue, you can spray it, it'll be real shiny. Let's use white for this one. Whoop, that one. Oh, there's a good straight one. Now we're going to establish our height. And again, that's up to you. Try that about there. Okay. Then I'm going to put 5 around the bottom. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we'll lay them on the lid, push them into the oasis. Now this is not life or death. If you don't like them, pull them out and push them in further. That one's broke. Carnations can be stubborn right here at the joints. They will snap. So you just kind of have to hold the joint. All right, now, that's our basics. Let me hold that down on the floor so you can see. Now, we're going to do 2 triangles. Again, the handle is my center. So I'm going to do a triangle. I'm going to cut 3 more of the same length. I'm going to go around the center flower in a triangle shape. See the triangle around the center flower? Okay. And the second triangle. And I always lose my knife in the middle of everything, so that's it. So we're going to do 3 more. That triangle goes in between the spaces of this triangle. There's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. If you had a dozen roses to do, that's do them. But we have more to do. So let's take this one and let's work with some daisies. Now, when you're doing daisies, there's a secret to it. You've got all these little blooms here in the end. then usually you've got a concentration of them at the top. Sometimes your ones in your yard or whatever will have some nice long, what we call laterals. These are laterals. Laterals are your money makers in the flower shop, because you hold up your flower like that and you pull off the longer stems and you use those first independently. Then you can use this nice little bunch together. The long ones you've cut off go into the arrangement. All right, so let's just fill that space in between that with that. And we're going to do another triangle. I'm peeling these off because these little buds aren't going to do us much good. Here. This one over here. Try that again. Hitting the stem there somewhere. Fresh cut. There. All right. Now, we got plenty of red, so let's put some red in here. So we'll go back to the top. Put some red in there. Put some red in here. Right. Let's try red here. That's it. Throw something on there. And we can do different elevations. We can put these lower ones in a little further so they don't stick out as far as the white ones. If you want to stick out the same as the white ones, do it. It's your arrangement.
So if you have questions, feel free to unmute and ask.
I think they've gone to sleep.
They might have.
Thanks.
Yeah, or I might be making them sick because I think I'm in and out so much.
Yeah, do you use the wire only when you're have a tall container?
Yes, whenever I'm going to have a mass, like a big altar arrangement, something like that, I use the wire because it keeps the stems from breaking the oasis apart. But a smaller arrangement, I wouldn't use it. Yeah, I'm just going around filling in spots.
Flower.
Say that one more time, please.
What's your favorite flower, Skip?
Favorite flower?
Protea.
What?
It's a tropic. They're really, really pretty. They're hard to work with. They're big and they're stemmy, but that's all right. They're kind of a masculine type flower. Let's see, I'm just going around. Now, if you wanted to use baby's breath or something like that, you'd put that in right about now. But now I'm going to put a few in a little bit further down so that I don't have a line here. Nestle this one down in there a little bit. This gives it a little more of a three-dimensional look rather than have everything at the same height.
That's really cool.
You like that way of doing things?
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple.
The way it's all together. And you still see your handle.
Now, if this were Christmas time, I'd put a bow right here on the handle and let the streamers run down. But we're just 4th of July right now, so we've got red and white, but I don't have any blue. Sorry about that. And I see a spot for a few more daisies. See there? See another spot. This is the fun part when you get to this, the finishing touches. That's when it's really a lot of fun to do. And, oh, we got one more bunch. See where that's going.
I have a question. Why are you cutting at an angle? Is it easier to put in that way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm angling everything in towards, like, if there was one little hole in the center, I'm angling everything in that way.
Okay.
So now I'm sure everybody's going to have centerpieces for the 4th of July, right? And I could keep on going. See one spot, I want one. Right in there. Hey, there we go.
Oh,
Any questions?
I paid for that one.
One more time?
How much can I pay to get that for my table for the 4th of July?
How much you pay to get for a table?
You learned it, now you can do it. All right, put that one up here.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What's your question?
What other types of flowers, Skip, are good to use as far as easy to handle and that last a while, other than the carnations and daisy that you would recommend?
Oh, spider mums, roses, lilies. Daylilies are good. Um, Actually, most any flower you can use like that. I wouldn't use too many of the orchids like that. Orchids, floating down. But other than that, you can use just about anything you like. Okay, now we're going to do a quickie here. This is your oasis already in the container. Again, I've lost, there it is. Just about lost my Davy tape. Davy tape is made by Oasis, a leading floral company, and has been for years and years for floral display. They came up with Oasis. I always liked using Oasis because they used to sponsor me when I lived in Ohio and did design shows in Cleveland and in Cincinnati. So I was always very fond of them. There. Now, we're going to do a church arrangement. Part of a church arrangement. Yeah, we got flowers. Got plenty of greens. First thing we're going to do is green our container. So this one looks like a nice straight piece there. So I start again in the back quarter and put that down as far as I want it. Humongous. Like 5 to width. Kind of sounds like a triangular arrangement, doesn't it? But it gets different. Laying the stem on the edge of the container, pushing it in. Now on this one, it's going to be a fan shape arrangement. This one very nicely grows over to the left, so it's going to go over to the left. This one's going to go over here to the right. Now instead of being a triangle, see how this is like a big fan? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a fan type arrangement. So I'm going to come in front of those. Space there. In between now, I'm going to put some greens in there. And again, I'm using the scraps in the front. I think all of a sudden nice and quiet. Usually when I'm doing a design show, everybody's yelling questions at me.
Excuse me, do you always use an instant oasis, or do you sometimes use the old kind that takes a long time to soak?
I like the old kind that takes a while to soak because the instant oasis has a little bit of funny give to it. After you've worked with oasis for a while, the older one, when you put a stem in, it stays put. Yeah. The instant has a little bit of a tendency to fight back. So that's why I usually use the old-fashioned kind.
You also mentioned that you could use a green spray, and I wondered, I've forgotten the name of it, I've written it down. Does it have any negative effect, like if you spray it on an arrangement of silver, is it going to have an effect on the finish of the vase?
Yes. If you're using brass or silver, this is plastic, so I don't care about that. And I always keep a towel handy. What you do is you put it around like this when you spray it, because you don't want the spray to get on your container. Because that will mess up your container if you don't polish it right away. So definitely. I'll tell you, I was teaching a flower design class one day, and we always had 15 students because we wouldn't take any more than that. And I was teaching them how to use a knife. And I was standing there just cutting up a storm like this when all of a sudden I realized that I had cut my finger. Now, I can't stand up in front of a class that I've just been telling them what to do and what not to do and stand there bleeding. So I did have flowers like that I have over here in the pot and back of me, so I just simply reached around like this and put my hand in the water. And I just keep on working, keep on talking. By the end of the class, I had a really nice red bucket over there. I didn't have to have any stitches, but it was very humiliating. I'm glad they didn't catch on.
How long did the training take that you took when you got started in flower arranging?
Excuse me? What was the question?
How long was your training got started on this?
How long was your training when you started on the?
I stumped him.
Actually, it was a 3-week trial, and I would come the following Monday and start working for them. So I did. I moved from Lexington to Ohio and went into the Centerville florist in Centerville, Ohio, and the David Curtis School of Floral Design met every couple of months. So I started teaching in that. I think they thought I was pretty good. I don't know why. But the third month that I was in the floral design business, Teleflora, which was back at that time the big catalog service, like you would FTD and all those. They were having the state show in Cincinnati. And Kurt Ferdinand said, you need to enter that. I said, you know, I haven't really been in it that long. He said, go ahead. So I entered it. And I won the state championship. So I decided, well, maybe that was the kind of good thing for me to stick with, so I did. I stayed with it. So now we're going to the back of the arrangement. And again, we're going to cover up our mechanics, but leave a place where we can put water in. Well, there. Now I've got room here that I can put water in. Now you can see how the greens come back here, and they're in the back part of the arrangement. Again, if you started them forward, the arrangement would go like that. So you don't want to do that. So there we go. Now we're greened up.
I've actually had that happen. I know it can.
All right. And you always have to use your own judgment, because sometimes when you turn it back around, you think, that needs some greens there. All right, now this time, we're going to use one of my favorites. We're going to get some myrtle.
What's it called?
Myrtle. This is myrtle.
Myrtle.
And myrtle and a knife really don't get along that well, but I'll try anyway. Oh, that worked. And I'm going to put a different kind of green in there. This is spiky, so I like the spike. And I'm going to put another spike in here. Oh, what a mess I'm making. I better clean this up before Doug comes in.
Love you. Mhm.
We're going to get some little spiky things in here. And I'll go over here. Now, my little spiky things, I've got at the same elevations. I've got a top one and this one. So I've got kind of a triangle there. And let's see how many more pieces I've got here. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to cut two of them. Oh, this smells good.
It does smell good, actually.
Andy says it smells good. There with that one. There with this one.
I'm wearing a mask, too.
This will unstop your sinuses. All right, I'm going to put one in there. You might want to use your cutters on myrtle. And I'm going down a little lower. And another piece in here. One more left. Okay. Put that one over there. There. Now the little pieces that I've cut the center out of, I can go back, trim up a little bit, and put down in the lower part. So you have the smaller ones.
You just have one piece left.
Got what? Oh, there's one. Thank you, Andy.
Yep.
Now I lost my knife.
I have another one, too. Sorry.
There it is. Found it. All right. Put some in the front here. There, now we've got our fan going there too. Now this is Liatris. A wonderful spiky flower. And you study each one. Now that was a straight one. A fresh cut. And that's going to be our height. Bit there. Then we're going to do our width. And that looks about right.
Sabrina says she loves the colors.
You like those colors?
Uh,
Okay, lay this on the lip just like we did the other two arrangements. Okay. All right, now on the sides you can see they're stepped down again. But what's different, when we did the other triangle, we would go in like this and like this to the triangle. But that's not what we're doing right now. We're doing the fan. So we're going to cut two identical. And they're going to come in between the top one and the width, height and the width. All right,
Nancy asks, is that also called Blazing Star?
Is it?
Is it called, she's asking you.
I don't know. Liatris is the only thing I've ever heard it called. Now we've got our fan established. So now I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to go through the center with them. And I'm going to the left and to the right of the center one, all the way down.
Could you move the carnation arrangement so that we can see the outline of this one better? I'm sorry.
There you go, man.
There.
Perfect.
You get the ladles too in the background. Makes it even better.
It's just much easier to see the outlines of the design without a competing background.
Right. Critics, Andy.
Yes. Well, McCorkle's supposed to be directing us right now.
Artist, though.
And one-
Michael Lynn is an artist, so she was saying that.
Okay, can you see the basics there? All these spikes? The spikes are picked up from the spikes in the green. So that's a really spiky arrangement right now, folks. So we're going to keep on going here. Now, I'm going to work in carnations. So I'm going to work this one in here. And when you're putting flowers in, don't hold it like that and try to put it in because you're going to break the stem every time. Hold it at the bottom and work it in. That's the easiest way to do it. I'll do one there, and I'm going up here. Okay. These are about the same height. Don't get a ruler or anything, just kind of eyeball it. I'm going to do. Whoop. Now I'm going to go in between these two. White. And go into this. Go. Now I'm going back into the center. Over on the left side. On to the right side. Back in the center.
So you always go left to right, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, basically. Some on the bottom here. Then you look, okay. That one probably. I think there's a hole there that needs something. Then I look at the other side. Yeah, I believe there's one on the other side too that needs something. So I never work at one spot. You always go around. If you tend to work in one spot and then move to another spot, you're going to have a clump of flowers here and a clump of flowers there and a clump of flowers there instead of having them distributed. Now, need something in here a little bit. That. Hey, let's not leave Daisy out. We're going to use up what we've got.
I wish y'all could see this because the video doesn't do it justice.
Where did they go afterwards? Yep,
One more time.
after you're finished with them.
Oh, what are you doing with after you're finished with these?
Are you signing up for them?
Yeah, come on.
Who's that?
I think it's Liz.
Is that Liz?
I've done
Tell her. Let's put this one up here. That. Now I do know people that would put those in there, but I think that's a little much. I don't like red and purple together particularly. But if you do, put them in there. Are you on your way, Liz?
I can be. I don't know where I live.
We're waiting for you. On the front here of this one.
Nancy Baylock says gorgeous.
Thank you. Does she mean me or the arrangement? Tuck a couple in there. Well, this one's getting pretty well filled up. All right, Andy, what you think?
It's amazing me, man. To see how it all came together is pretty cool.
I've got one left, so we have to use the one last one. Andy's a terrific camera guy. He's a good director, too.
Sabrina wants to know how many flowers are needed for one arrangement.
A lot.
A lot.
It depends on the size of your vase and all like that. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. There's 2 dozen carnations and 10 liatris and 4 stems of daisies in that.
How many greens, you think?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's probably 10 pieces of leather leaf and 1, 2, 3, probably 10 pieces of wood.
Another one. When you cut your foam or your floor foam before you tape it, how far above the container do you want it to stick out? Like 2 inches?
Yeah, somewhere 2 inches, 3 inches. You don't want it to stick up too high because then you've got to cover it. So that uses more greens.
Let me see. Y'all can see how this is gorgeous. I'm gonna station you up here, okay?
Yes.
All right. Oh. Sorry, guys. Can everybody still see?
No. The video
No.
is.
Let's try it. Let me unspotlight you, Skip.
You're going to what?
Unspotlight you.
Okay.
L E X E X. I'm trying to get it up so he can see you guys.
No, we can't see him at all.
That's okay.
R. E. There you go. And we're back in. Zoom. Skip. All right. And we're gonna unspotlight you. There you go. You should.
What are we doing?
You can see everybody now. Y'all can go ahead and unmute. Ask any questions you want.
So what am I saying?
Where can we find the supplies?
Carolyn at University of Florida will be glad to get you what you need. Okay? Just tell them Skip sent you.
That helps.
Liz, why aren't you on your way?
I can't get there by the time this is over. How do I come and get it? Tomorrow.
No, hey, I'll be here for you. You can come right now.
It starts by the time I get there. What? Oh, you don't know where I live.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Thanks, Skip. That was really interesting.
It was wonderful.
Fun.
I hope to do another one around Christmas that we can use unusual containers and do a Christmas show.
That would be fun.
That would be fun.
Are we going to see one of those arrangements on the altar on Sunday?
No, someone else has flowers on Sunday.
Oh, okay. All right.
How long do they last, Skip?
What?
How long do they last?
Oh, a couple of weeks.
Wow.
As long as you keep them watered.
Mm-hmm.
And Nancy, my poinsettia is still beautiful.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's sending out new little shoots now around the bottom.
Very nice. I'm happy to hear that.
I've never seen one last that long.
That must be a record.
I think so.
Well, thank you so much, Skip.
Yeah, thank you, Skip. This was fun. And thank you, Andy, for making it possible.
Yes.
Thank you both.
Our man for tonight, I'll tell you. He's terrific.
Thank you.
This was so many levels. Take good. Thank you. I'm not kidding. I come get them tomorrow. I can't come tonight.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks again.
Bye.